Welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. Happy Friday. Give yourself a round of applause. We made it through another week. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and it's going to be a hot one. We're going to be right near all-time record highs all weekend. The pushing 110. I think we're going to get 108, 109. If we get to 110, we're going to break the weekend records. So just keep that in mind. Lather up on the sunscreen and leave the drive-in to us. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. Make it part of your daily routine. Go out there every day, Monday through Friday. We take all the articles, all the videos to keep you all comfortably disturbed in a world that has gone absolutely nuts. This article coming out of Boulder, the University of Colorado has removed the term illegal alien from its library catalog. I'm not sure what that actually means, but apparently they said that they need a more ethical subject heading. Yes, illegal alien apparently is not politically correct because it induces, not my words, this is the University of Colorado, it does not induce or foster an inclusive atmosphere. Yes, that's right. See, you know what? It's something where we want everything to be all-inclusive no matter what you are or who you are. You know what? We just won't label anything. Well, the funny thing is, though, is I believe that they are going to use a different word other than the word illegal alien for a more ethical subject heading. There are 5,367 records in the library at the University of Colorado that have the problematic phrase. Yes, see, it's so problematic when you use the term illegal alien. So now, are they in the country legally or illegally? Well, they're in it illegally, but saying that they're in it illegally is apparently the big problem. I don't know that they have a problem with the word alien. I think the big issue is the word illegal. So, according to the American Library Association, they are now heading up. Yes, I didn't even, you find out all of these great things. The American Library Association, they're leading the charge with the House of Representatives to get rid of the word illegal alien. See, if we just strip it out, somehow it'll be better. They did not say, and this is what I was looking for, they did not say what it was they wanted to call them. So there you go. This is it. This is the world that we live in today. This is where all of this money that you're spending to get your children more educated, this is what it's paying for. Maybe, you know what, I think about this all the time. They've been pushing for the last couple of decades about how you need to be more educated. And we've never, ever been more educated. Even when they were saying we needed to be more educated, we were the most educated that we've ever been as far as grades in school go. Maybe this was the reason, right? They needed a place to get them away from your mother and your father because they, you know what, they are simple-minded folks, and we need to be able to brainwash you away from them. And this is just another continuation. No word on how much this actually costs the University of Colorado, but this is it. And we're seeing this happen all over the country, and I sit there and I talk about it all the time. All the failed blue staters right? They're inundating all the red states, right? People from California. I got a good friend of mine. His wife is a realtor. I know, right? Everybody's a realtor. But she sells high-end homes. All the things she sells is over $1 million. She just flat out says, almost all of my customers are from California. I mean, that's just right. I mean, that's just how it is, and they just keep coming and coming and coming. Next thing you know, it's not even going to be a place you recognize anymore. But I just saw that, and I was like, wow. I mean, there's nothing offensive. There's nothing. I mean, it's an accurate description of what it is and how that term is somehow racist or not inclusive. I don't know. I really, truly don't understand. Well, I do understand, really, because this is what they want it to be. They want to wipe away all borders, right? They want to wipe away. You know what? In a perfect world, in utopia, you could probably do this. If there was never countries, if there was never states, if everybody was the same race and color and had the same background and the same lineage and the same history, maybe you could do this. But this is not the reality of the world that we live in, nor will it ever be. It's baffling to me. And of course, really all of this does is divide us even more. Right? And then part of the biggest goal is to divide. Part of the biggest goal is to brainwash our children into thinking that the only way they are. Because, let's face it, all of education now, from kindergarten all the way through graduate school, liberal. Take the Radio News Hour, Fake News Friday when we get back.
One of these things is not like the others. One of these things doesn't belong. Can you tell which thing is not like the others? Before I finish my song.
From News Headquarters, this is
Fake
News
Friday.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
What is real? How do you define real?
Fake News Friday.
Fake.
Fake News Friday. Jason is joining us. Ramon is going to be leading us through. If you've never heard this segment every Friday now, because we want to be with the times. Right, so we have a Fake News Friday episode where we take stories that are out in the headlines, and two of them are true, one of them is not, and then Jason and I tried to guess which one is the fake news story.
Correct.
I'm going to tell you right now, it's hard to do. It's hard to separate the real from the fake. I will say that I am far superior than Jason, but he did get a tie last week, so I think it was the first time in a month where Jason didn't get the loss technically, but nonetheless, we'll see how it goes today. Jason, are you there?
Jason is there. Hold on, I have to access his line really quick.
Okay.
Okay, now he's able to speak now.
Now he's able to talk.
Yep.
Jason, you ready?
I have trouble believing anything I hear sometimes. So sometimes that's what makes this so difficult.
Okay. Well said. I like to also refer to that. Now, this is, I'm sure the University of Colorado is not going to like this term. You're a loser.
Oh.
Yeah. There you go. You got to call it like it is.
I won the first one, though. I won the first one, so it's not like I've never won.
I was not ready. I didn't understand the rules the first time.
That's a microaggression, sir.
Yes. All right, let's go. Let's hit it.
All right, here we go. Story number one. A school in Georgia that takes disciplining their students very seriously has reportedly installed a corporal punishment policy, which parents can consent to have their child hit with a paddle. Parents of the students in the kindergarten through ninth grade charter school receive a consent to paddle form, which details the corporal punishment which would occur at the student's third offense. A student would be taken into the office behind closed doors. A student will be they will place their hands on their knees or a piece of furniture and will be struck on the buttocks with a paddle. A parent can either give consent or deny consent. The school so far has received more than 100 consent forms.
Assume the position.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
All right, story number 2. Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel will form a task force that will consider implementing the so-called Universal Basic Income Program in the city, as the embattled mayor seeks to cement his progressive legacy after promising not to run for another term. The idea for the program, which would make $500 monthly payments to a number of, 1,000 families without any conditions. The new task force set up by Emanuel will have will decide whether such welfare initiative. So we've got basic income, $500 per family. Story number 3, which is kind of close to my heart here. National test of the emergency alert system will be conducted on September 20th. Federal Emergency Management Agency, in accordance with the FCC, will conduct a nationwide emergency alert system test, and it'll be on September 20th. The test will assess the operational readiness. The test will not be conducted in Hawaii because of the fallout from the missile alert warning from last year. The Hawaiian governor stated that he would not put his people through that again. The EAS test lasts approximately 1 minute and will be on radio, television, cable systems, and so forth. The EAS message will be the basic, you've heard it before. This is a test of the National Emergency Alert System. All right, so that is the round 1 here. So we've got the Georgia getting paddled. The kids are getting paddled for, that's kind of old school. We've got the basic income in Chicago. And number 3, Hawaiian governors opting out of the EAS test.
Well,
who's going to go first?
Well, let's go.
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
I'll go first. I have a feeling this is probably a trap by Glenn, but I don't think anyone in this country has the intestinal fortitude to enforce capital punishment anymore, even in Georgia. I'm saying that's the fake news. I don't think people have it in them to do that anymore, and to me that's just not believable. I think that's fake news.
Okay, so you got story number 1. All right, Joe.
I am going to go with story number 3.
Okay, story
because if my kid had 2 chances to correct some form of behavior and still wanted to misbehave, I would sign the consent. So therefore, I'm going to go with these people in Georgia. The second story about Rahm Emanuel, of course, this is what's coming. You know what? This is really tells you how worthless your money really is. And we've been hearing about this universal basic income stuff for a while now. And just the fact that, hey, we're just going to just hand out money for no reason other than we're just going to try it out and see if that helps something or not help something, or it's the poor people need the money. Right? It just really shows how worthless your money really is. So I believe that as well. So therefore, ergo, I'm going to go with number 3, and I don't believe the fake part of that, in my opinion, the governor of Hawaii probably didn't say Hawaii won't participate. That's my answer.
Well, sir, you are correct. Hawaii, the Hawaiian governor, that's the fake story. Everything else is true. Hawaii better, join in.
Wait a minute. Who got that one right?
That would be, let me think, the boss man, you.
Oh, that was me.
Yep.
Okay, so Jason's already losing.
Jason, make sure your wife calls in for the next
by
next
the
week.
way, I think we need to go to the bullpen next week and get Brooke out here to try to help your family. Or maybe, you know what, I even think your son Jack would probably be better.
I probably would have picked 3 also, but sometimes when Glenn alters these things a little bit, it's hard for me to make the choice. I would have picked 3, but I just didn't think Georgia had it in him to actually enforce that.
Jason, go with your gut, man. Just go with your gut.
Okay, last one.
All right, here we go. The last round. Here we go. Mike Pompeo took a stab at rebranding his agency, Department of Swagger, by launching a new Instagram account. The former CIA director, that is, even rolled out a new logo that showed him glad-handing, smiling staffers inside his retro post-war building located in Foggy Bottom. His debut postings even invoked Shakespeare and General George S. Patton. Shakespeare was the first to use the word swagger, Pompeo wrote. Patton had his swagger stick, and now these are some of the postings. At State Department, we've got hashtag swagger2. Follow me on Instagram at Instagram/SCE Pompeo and the hashtag swagger. Okay, that's Mike Pompeo. Story number 2. Stephen Kohler in Visalia, California, annually puts up his Halloween decorations on the first week of September. He added a new decoration to his ever-growing collection. This year features a Trump-like dummy hanging from a tree. The decoration caused quite a stir. Local authorities were contacted, soon followed by Secret Service. The man was interviewed and surprisingly deemed not a risk to the president. But it has caused quite a stir in the neighborhood due to the fact that now people are coming by his home and taking selfies with the Trump decoration. There's now a sign around the Trump dummy that says impeached. All right, that's story number 2. Story number 3. The group Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America is fighting to ensure the Arkansas teachers cannot be armed, citing safety risk to students. Legislation is expected in early 2019, and Moms Demand is already claiming the armed teachers would make students less safe. Moms Demand Austin Bailey saying, "We know that the answer is not to arm your teachers because we know putting guns in the classroom increases the risk of unintentional firing, increases the risk of children accessing guns." But Bailey did not cite one incident where a teacher's gun has been accessed by a student, even though school districts elsewhere allow teachers to be armed for self-defense. Not one incident could be cited of a teacher's gun being accessed by students. Instead, Bailey spoke in what-if scenarios. Okay, there we go. Story number 1. Once again, Mike Pompeo doing the hashtag thing. Story number 2, the Trump dummy. Story number 3, Moms Demand Gun Action and not arming the teachers. Okay, let's go with, Joe won last round, so let's go Joe this round.
You know what? This one's a tough one.
Because they're all crazy, right?
They're ridiculous. Every one of those is absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that 2 of them are true is disturbing.
Yes.
I don't know why. I cannot say that I don't have any thoughts on this other than I'm going to go with the Halloween Trump thing because anybody that puts their Halloween stuff out this early has bigger problems, and I know that they're out in the stores, but...
no, I've seen it on my neighborhood, believe it or not.
See?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Crazy people.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I really, actually, I haven't heard any 3 of these, so I'm just going to go with that one.
All right, Halloween. And Jason, for your final possible appearance here, what's the answer?
Yeah, I agree with Joe. This is another tough one. I think it's story number 1.
The Instagram?
I think that just brings too much attention to an administration that's gotten too much attention already. I think it's story number 1.
The swagger? Yeah, it could
swagger?
Be. It could be.
All right. And the winner is, surprising once again, it is Joe. You picked the fake story again. And Jason, I wish we had parting gifts for you.
Wow, I'm going to tell you, that's, Well,
actually, I will tell you this. I removed one of Glenn's stories and tried to trick you even more so by, doing this this Halloween thing, and it obviously didn't fool you, boss man.
Now, let me ask you this: what do that you didn't take? You made that was your own made-up headline?
Well, it was made up, except for the fact that there is a weirdo down the block who actually has his decorations up already. So that's where I took that.
That was it. That's where you pulled. You just made that up completely.
Yes, and I believe. Oh, look at that! The Secret Service is right out my door now. So I'm going to have to go.
Yes. By the way, I'd like to make this. We are not encouraging anybody to do that.
This is only fake.
We advise against it.
How long do you think that somebody's going to actually do that?
Now that you've said it,
Not me.
I'm sure that it's going to happen. I just think of it. It's like a pitcher throwing a no-hitter, and then someone says something to him, and that's it. It's over, and it'll be your fault. So because the second you say it, that's what's going to happen.
Well, the Halloween thing got me because I like Halloween. We actually put decorations out, and I had some problems with my HOA. And the last couple of years, I had a couple of decorations out there that was speaking directly to the HOA. So I saw that as being a possible true story.
Well, there you go. Another great edition of Fake News Friday.
My apologies to Glenn. I will never insert my own story again.
Dude, that was a great one. You actually fooled Jason.
Oh, that's not hard.
Yeah.
When we get back, we'll go back to the news. Jason, once again, you lose. Maybe we'll try to find a suitable replacement next time. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break.
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report, a daily commentary continuing the conservative pro-family legacy of Phyllis Schlafly. Now the president of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, Ed Martin.
This Monday is Constitution Day, the 231st anniversary of the day our great United States Constitution was signed in Philadelphia on September 17th, 1787. It should be as important a national holiday as Independence Day. Our Constitution is, really, the most unique in the world. Most Western democracies have constitutions that are lists of what government can do for individuals. Our U.S. Constitution is a document setting forth what government cannot do to individuals. It recognizes our rights derived from God, not from government. That's the fundamental difference. Our Constitution is based on the sovereignty of the people. The preamble identifies the source of government's political power as we the people, making government the servant of the people, not our master. We have a written Constitution. That means we have a government whose powers and limitations are defined on paper. Don't believe liberal lies. It's absolutely not a living document open to total judicial reinterpretation. Our Constitution created a government of limited powers. This is the unique concept that the federal government possesses only the listed powers, with everything else remaining in the hands of the people or their states. Our Constitution is also based on the separation of powers, so that one branch cannot become powerful enough to gobble up the others, and each branch can serve as a check on the others. Our Constitution is based on economic freedom. It protects the opportunity to engage freely in any business, trade, occupation, or profession, the right to own private property, and the right to make contracts that will be enforced. And our Constitution sets up our representative government under constitutional procedures and restraints. The powers of government are exercised only by our elected representatives. Across all of history, our American Constitution is unique. Its lasting freedom deserves to be celebrated.
This has been the Phyllis Schlafly Report from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. What's the best way to rekindle the spirit of Phyllis Schlafly and the grassroots movement she energized? In this digital age, patriots and pro-family Americans can find insight and inspiration on our website, phyllisschlafly.com. Then share your own heart and mind on social media. So join us at phyllisschlafly.com and every weekday for the Phyllis Schlafly Report.
800-951-0592. We had some real economic data today and some not real economic data. Really, I guess we would divide it into hard data and soft data, right? The hard data is the real data being collected by the government. The soft data would be a survey, okay, whether that be, in this case, the survey was a confidence number, right? Hey, are you confident, not confident, things of that nature. So we had two different, a hard data point and a soft data point. The hard data point was retail sales. This is an August number, very important to third quarter GDP, and the number came in light. It wasn't the number that they were hoping for. U.S. consumers hit the brakes on spending as retail sales stumbled from 0.7% in July, in July to 0.1% in August. And as you were reading through this, and they do all kinds of different measurements, right? They have the overall number, which I just gave you. Then they have the core retail sales ex automobiles. So they say, hey, let's take out autos. When you think about retail sales, right, the largest purchase for retail sales would be automobiles. When they exclude that, that was also a miss. It was only 0.3 versus the expected 0.5, which tells you that looks like there was another big drop in auto sales in the month of August. Then I learned something, and maybe I knew it, maybe I didn't, because it's so hard. They have so many different reports. But they have what they call the retail control group sales. Yep. Retail control group sales. And remember, just like inflation, right? The Federal Reserve kind of makes it all up, and unemployment, right? They got 6 different measurements for unemployment, and of course they use the best one, right? The lowest one. Well, here's the so-called retail control group sales. This is the one they use to calculate GDP. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, why? Why wouldn't we just use the actual? I know, call me crazy. Why wouldn't we actually just use the actual retail sales? Don't exclude anything. Don't put anybody in a group. Right? It's kind of like the Boulder thing. Listen, we don't like the word illegal alien, so let's just not use it. Why don't we just use what we got, right? Which is, let's use the real number. The control group sales, which is used to calculate GDP. So here's what they take out of the number. Food services, auto dealers, building material stores, and gasoline stations. Makes absolutely no sense. Well, my guess would be is if you included these things, that you would get a lower number. That's just my guess. I don't know. I don't have any vision to this. That also only rose 0.1%. They were looking for 0.5%. By the way, July's number was 0.8%. So my guess will be we will see some reductions into the GDP forecast for Q3. The breakdown, only 4 of the 13 major retail categories showed a decrease, by the way. And those were electronics, health, and, I want to make sure I get this right. Furniture, clothing, general merchandise, stores, sales slump. So motor vehicles, furniture, clothing, and general merchandise were all down. Electronics, health and personal products, gasoline, online, and miscellaneous store sales were up. So that apparently those are the categories. The clothing stores fell 1.7%. Gas stations, no surprise here, right? Higher gas prices. Gas stations up 1.7%. So that was the hard data number, and you're kind of like, that was disappointing. We're hoping for better. Listen, we need a stronger number to get the GDP as high as possible. Like I said, I don't think we're going to see another 4, but I'd like to see at least a 3.5. So hopefully we'll get a rebound in September. Then the soft data was consumer confidence. And here was another one of these, what I'm calling the top indicators. Consumer confidence hit an all-time record high for current market conditions. And again, these are what we see in these tops where you're always the last to know, right? The consumer allegedly, right, this is the most confidence we've ever had. And you're looking at just think about what Morgan Stanley said yesterday. By the way, J.P. Morgan came out with a note after I got off the air yesterday saying, get ready for another major market meltdown, and they actually put a date on it, 2020. J.P. Morgan says the next shock is going to come. So I'm not surprised by that consumer confidence number. That actually has got gold and silver down. That got the dollar to rally, right? Think about this. We had a bad retail sales number. And then we had a very good consumer confidence number. Guess which one Wall Street took to heart today? The consumer confidence one, right? Because that really doesn't mean anything, right? You call somebody up, and my guess would be, if you just got good news or whatever, you're in a good mood, right? You're going to answer it well. If you and your wife got into an argument right before the phone call, you're probably not. I don't know, but yeah, forget about real data. We don't like that. Let's go with the what they call the soft data. So it has the dollar. The dollar rallied on that news. Gold, matter of fact, it's a great day to buy. Gold's down $9, $11.94. Silver down 13 cents, right at $14 on silver. By the way, cases of silver today, 86 1/4, $8,625 for green monster boxes of Silver Eagles today. 800-951-0592. When we get back, we got a new note from Goldman Sachs. So we've had Morgan Stanley, J.P. Morgan, and now Goldman Sachs. We'll tell you all about it when we return. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. This is a follow-up from Goldman Sachs. In February, they produced a report for their clients talking about the troubling forecast for the United States fiscal situation. Okay, talking about the growth of debt. They used the word uncharted territory. And that's a nice way of saying, hey, we got a big problem. And what they were talking specifically about was not just the soaring federal debt, but also the soaring interest expense for carrying all of the debt. Now, we know the other day, the United States set a new all-time record high in the amount of debt in a single month. They spent more money in the month of August than ever before for any one month. I think they approached $500 billion of spending and ran a deficit of over $200 billion in a single month. Goldman has now come out with a follow-up report and said the already grim fiscal outlook, which we are simply calling not good, after the release of yesterday's budget numbers, Goldman now projects that the national debt, and of course, I should work for Goldman. The national debt will eclipse $1 trillion. They said that the debt to GDP level for 2019 will be 4.9%. Now let's call it 5. And again, I think Goldman's number, by the way, 1.05 trillion. I think that's a little light next year. Next year, I think we will see a much higher number than that. And I actually believe will be over 5% of GDP. Now remember, for decades, they told us that debt was okay as long as it stayed below 3% of GDP. Goldman now says it'll be at least 5% in 2019. Will rise to somewhere between 5.5% to 6% by 2021, and will be well above 7% of GDP by 2028, and it puts the U.S. fiscal policy at risk. Here's what they said is really new, right? Because we've been running debts for a long time. But here's what's new. And I think this really is the example of why things are so much worse than even we think about. Because normally, when we run GDP over 3, when unemployment is as low as it is, yes, we still run deficits. We have. Since the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, right, we've run deficits every year. But normally, during these times, when you have good GDP growth and you have low unemployment, the deficit goes down, right? We still run a deficit. In other words, hey, it was $665 billion. In a normal environment, Goldman is saying, hey, this year's debt, should be like $500 billion. It should be less. Still a debt, but less. Instead, what we've seen is one of the largest percentage gains ever in non-wartime. In other words, we've never spent this much more money in a non-wartime event. Especially, we've never done it with a quote-unquote growing economy. And, of course, they talk about the interest expense piling up. Now, this is what happened. They talked about, hey, in the 80s and the 90s, yeah, we ran some debts. And, yes, we had periods where the debt to GDP level was elevated. But the size of the debt was still relatively small. And now Goldman says we've got $21 trillion, $22 trillion. And they say that the addition to the rising federal debt and the rising percentage of GDP comes at a time when interest expense is rising substantially. And this is the thing. This is the killer. When you start really thinking about what is going to happen. And I tell all of you, listen, this is just math. Right? You have to pay a premium when you need to borrow $20, $30, $40 trillion. They said that the debt to GDP only really ran high in previous times of war, and they cited World War II. Right? They said this is like the high water mark of debt to GDP, but the debt in World War II, just because I know the answer already, do you know that we had a debt of less than $100 billion? And after the war, the number I think was $250 billion after World War II. So when they compare debt to GDP levels then versus now, you see how different it really is. And now Goldman says that this is going to be a huge problem. And they kind of circled it. It was weird because I've already told you, $40 trillion 2026. Goldman now has produced a chart that says the United States in 2027 may record the highest debt to GDP level ever. Patriot Radio News Hour, I know, just something to think about. Because, 2027 is so far away. Final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. I'm trying to come up with something good. And it's just less and less products are out there and available, which means less and less deals to be had out there. I do have cases, Green Monster Box cases, live in both locations, both here in Phoenix and up there in Johnstown at 8,625. That's not quite the lowest in 10 years, but real close. I think the lowest we did, one day we got somewhere right around 84 and change or 8,500. So this is close to the lowest a case of silver has been in over 10 years, really more like probably 12 years, 8,625. I've got some U.S. $20 gold pieces, 1 through 9 at 1,300, 10 or more at 1,290, at 800, 951 0592. Take the time, put some more away, start adding, right? We're really seeing a lot of this topping charts, right, where the soft data is hitting all-time record highs. We see where good news is bad and bad news is good again, like retail sales. Let's ignore it. China, by the way, also came out today and said, hey, we're not bowing to anything as far as trade war goes with the U.S., and Wall Street wants to ignore it. These things that we're seeing today, especially now with the debt numbers. Think about the debt levels, and again, Wall Street ignoring those numbers. We've got bad housing data, now bad auto data. And bad is a relative term, right? They're just falling, which makes it really hard to have great GDP numbers without homes and autos involved. So you kind of feel, and you can kind of understand where J.P. Morgan and Morgan Stanley and now Goldman Sachs, where they're all kind of saying, hey, you better get ready. And most of them seemingly targeting 2020. So that doesn't give you a lot of time. So take the time, keep adding to your portfolios, keep putting them away. 800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number, and we'll take good care of you. If you're like, hey, man, I want to get involved, but I don't have $8,625, or I don't have $1,300 extra dollars laying around, go out to our website and look into our metals plan. It's just a great way to get involved. We want everybody to be able to get some wealth insurance, and this is why we created our metals program for as little as $100 a month. And I know for some people even that's unaffordable, but if you can afford $100 a month, you get 4 deliveries a year, right? 4 times a year we ship and deliver. We pool all of your money with everybody else, so you're going to get the volume discount price. Like today, we talked about 20s. Hey, 1 through 9, $1,390, 10 or more, 12 or $1,300, 10 or more, $1,290. In these metal programs, you're going to get the volume discount pricing. So it really is a great little plan. 4 deliveries a year. Here's the best part: there's no fees. No setup fee, no cancellation fee. You can stop it when you want, start it when you want. You name it, we're there for you. 800-951-0592. Have a great weekend. Remember, wear that sunscreen.